I'm Chad Goodwin. I work for the WEA as a tutor, mainly in Norfolk and Suffolk. And we're down here in Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk today, doing a day's school on Magna Carta, its legacy, and what it actually means. I teach a lot of courses on history of democracy, for instance, history of rights, where they come from. And the main reason why I do this and why I find it interesting is I always want to ask that question: do we ever actually learn anything from history? And so I always try to sort of bias everything I'm doing towards that and looking for an answer. I don't always find it, of course. And I think in the context of what we're doing today, Magna Carta is actually a very good example of this because, as I said earlier this morning, it's one of those documents that everybody has heard of, but very few people know what it actually said and what its significance is. But we've already agreed today that in many ways it's actually the mythology around Magna Carta, what it seems to symbolise to us, which has actually become more important than the document itself. And from that, what we're going to go on to talk about is what we understand by rights, what they mean to us. Do we feel that our rights may be possibly under threat? And I suppose the last question of the day is going to be, do we feel we need a new Magna Carta? So that's roughly where we're heading, I hope. And lots of good discussion on the way. The first session is really giving you the information about Magna Carta, and I want to put it in context, talk a bit about why it came into existence. You have got in your handouts a copy of the complete text of the 1215 issue of Magna Carta. We can go through some of it, but I'll say more about that in a moment. Then we'll have a break. The second session is looking more at what Magna Carta has come to mean, and especially all the mythology surrounding it, because what I'm going to be arguing is that it's one of those documents that everyone has heard of, but very few people actually know what it says and what it really is. So that's going to be about that and how Magna Carta has been quoted. And so this morning is mainly the history and the background, but we can take it anywhere we like. And then this afternoon there's going to be much more sort of discussion based. So the first session will be actually looking at what rights are, what we understand rights to mean. And then the final session, which is really depending on where we are and how much time we've got left to say this can be taken in almost any direction. But I'm going to be asking the question as to whether you feel that your rights are secure at the moment, or whether you might feel they're under threat, and if so, what do you think you can do about it? You've got some work to do today. Yes, so the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, in this pile of things, you should have one. Actually, this is not quite the same copy. You should have a sheet which says Learning from the Magna Carta with a series of questions. Now, if it would be good if you could work together in pairs, 3s, 4s, however you want to do it. It's up to you. But at least do this with your neighbour. And I just want to spend probably a bit under 10 minutes doing this. Just go through it fairly quickly and just sort of fill in what you feel you know. Is that okay? You'll notice question 5 says how many Magna Cartas are there. There's a clue in the top line. There are no prizes, sorry. But
no right answer either.
Oh, there are some right answers as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question is really just, again, just to make you think about Magna Carta. Give 3 or 38, if you really want to, reasons why the Magna Carta matters today. Who wants to start off by suggesting something?
There's a protection against imprisonment without trial and
Right.
procedures.
So protection under law against things like arbitrary arrest and so on. So you feel that comes from Magna Carta?
I think it does.
You think it does? Yeah, that's fine. Other issues?
Is it perhaps just our basic assumption in the back of everybody's mind that people have rights and that they are or should be protected by law? I'm not saying that it actually works, but there is a sort of, most people, even if they're not aware of Magna Carta, have that basic background belief.
Yeah, we've got a sense that we have such things as rights, and that a lot of people associate that directly with Magna Carta. Yes.
I think it was involved in the American Commonwealth law as well.
Yeah.
Because I remember a film where it was based on the Magna Carta, but it was a US court case. But I think it's the basis. Well, that would be down the basis of English law and
Yeah. So it's a basis for law both in Britain and abroad. It's had an influence abroad as
I'm
well.
Scottish, so it didn't apply to us.
You are excused. That's all right. Anything else?
Didn't it say something about deporting aliens?
Yeah, they're French aliens.
Racial discrimination, could you get into that?
You're too much a minority, Jim.
Any other suggestions? Democracy? So there's an awful lot already getting loaded onto this document, isn't there?
Democracy.
This is what we're going to look at in the second one. Really, is the legacy of Magna Carta and what it stands for. But I think in general, most people have this sense that it's something important which says something about rights and gives us a basis before the law somehow or other. Yeah, is that fine? A couple of the other reasons you could give is that maybe we feel that our rights are possibly under threat at the moment. Maybe it's time for a new Magna Carta. That's part of it. It is, of course, the 800th anniversary this year. So apart from anything else, we might as well celebrate it. How much of the Magna Carta is still part of English law?
30?
30.
Yeah.
30 clauses of it are still part of English law. Any other authors? Higher or lower?
50%.
50%. Right, there are 63 clauses in the original. So there's a general agreement here. Any other authors?
Only about a third.
A third. So you're still talking about 20.
I think all of it.
All of it. Right. You can't go any higher than that.
I think I've put the basis of it.
The sense of it. Well, it's actually what the statements within it
Oh,
are
right,
part of law.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
The answer is 3.5.
Oh,
3.5%.
Yeah. Magna Carta has been a part of statute law. I'll explain that a little bit later on. But most of it was actually removed from the statutes during the 19th century. And so all we've got are, say, 3.5 clauses. One of them, we'll look at the clause in a moment.
3.5 clauses.
One of them is the first one, which guarantees the rights to the city of the church. Sorry. There's number 13, which guarantees the rights to the city of London. They are both still in operation. Then there is, to no one will we sell, to no one deny or delay right or justice. The idea of selling justice, that is still a part of statute law in the sense that it is illegal to try to bribe a judge. But the other one, the half, is the clause that everyone always quotes, which is usually assumed to mean the right to trial by jury. And that's one which is a half, because part of it you could sort of still say is law, but it's actually been superseded by other laws. And that's it. 3.5 clauses are still a part of, recognisable in English law today. But I hope what I've done is just give you a sense, of the breadth of material around Magna Carta, what it symbolises, just the mythology of it. I could be here for another 3 hours. You'll be pleased to know I'm not. But there is loads more that you can use this extraordinary document to base these discussions upon. I rest my case. So thank you for your attention. It is only water,
My interest is greatly in history, and I'm here because I really enjoy history. And this is an era that I don't know a great deal about, so I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. I've really learnt a lot that I didn't realise. I like most people, I've thought of the Magna Carta as being the rights of the ordinary person, and it's turned out that it isn't at all. In fact, lots of other details that I really didn't know anything about.
And I'm here to try and find out a bit about Magna Carta, which I knew a tiny bit about, but not a lot. I knew when it was, and I knew it was really about the barns, not about the people, and hopefully we're going to find out more this afternoon.
I was fascinated by the topic of the Magna Carta, particularly given it's the 800th anniversary, and given its relevance even today, in spite of that long history, I thought I would learn something, and I have indeed learned something. The relevance of it to how we behave today, the relevance of it to future generations, and I think it's been thoroughly worthwhile. Thank you.
And come to a lecture on a subject which has fascinated me, I think fascinated most of the world, and indeed it has been very revealing, and that what I've learned is that Magna Carta didn't set out to achieve what it has achieved, and the ramifications of the struggle for mankind in this country for free rights is in fact in a way still going on. But I have enjoyed the day and have gained a lot from it. Thank you.
When I saw that they were offering a day about Magna Carta, I was very interested, and I've certainly gained a great deal from the day. It has certainly opened my eyes and encouraged me to gain more about the subject.
I had the email about this day school, and I thought, although I knew a little bit about Magna Carta, there's a great deal more that I knew that would be worth learning about, and I'm certainly finding it very both entertaining and instructive, helping us to think differently outside the box.
I've arrived here today to spend the day listening to an interesting lecture, which it's proving to be. I've really enjoyed it. It's very well presented, and I've learned a lot about not just the Magna Carta but other aspects of history I didn't understand about. I don't really know very much about history. It's actually been quite pleasant to be here, and I've been free to ask questions, even though my knowledge is very limited, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the day.
I came to today's lecture because I knew Chad Goodwin was a very interesting lecturer on many subjects, and I knew very little about Magna Carta, and it's been fascinating all day. And I realised how much I didn't know, so I hope when I go home I shall remember at least a little of it.